Good morning, grade 8 agramnatics. Welcome to another series of Valenzuela Facebook Live Science 8. We found out that beneath the crust there are simultaneous movements that have brought changes to the ground. Do this happen too at the atmosphere? If you say yes, then you're right. Did you notice the weather today? Is it fine? Why is there a sudden change of weather in different areas in a day? Stay with me and let's find out. This is your Ma'am Sally Juanillas from Kanumaywas National High School playing as Miss Kim Tani, the weather girl for today at your service. Today, our learning competency is to explain how typhoon develops and how it is affected by land masses and bodies of water that surrounds us. There are two specific objectives. First is to characterize a typhoon. Second is to describe the wind speed and air pressure in the different parts of a typhoon. Before we go further, let's have this brainy game. I'll show you an image one at a time. All you have to do is to name the beginning letter of each image shown to complete the word. In 10 seconds, figure out the mystery word, then place your answer on the chat box below. So, what is our mystery word? Job well done. The word behind the images is pag-asa, an acronym for Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, an agency of the government responsible for keeping us safe and free from danger brought about by an atmospheric disturbances. This agency develops new technical facilities to help in the monitoring of changes in our atmospheric conditions. You might be wondering why Philippines is frequently visited by typhoon. Which factor contributes to this atmospheric condition of the Philippines? Where do you think on Earth are we exactly located? Earth is divided into three regions, namely the North Hemisphere, South Hemisphere, and the equator at the middle. And each region was subdivided by an imaginary line, namely the lines of prime meridian, a vertical line at a 0 degree on the center of the Earth. The succeeding standing lines running from left to right is known as the longitude, while the horizontal line lying parallel to the equator is known as latitude. Observe this model of Earth. What surrounds us? You can place your answer on our comments section. You're right. Oceans are bodies of water and continents are a land mass. We call these as the topographical features of the Philippines. Topography of the island is mostly mountainous with narrow to large coastal lowlands. Philippines is actually facing four major directions. We have east to your right, where sun rises with the bed of Pacific Ocean. West direction at your left, where sun sets along China Sea. North on the top, and south at the bottom, where Celebes and Sulusi found. There is actually an existing interrelationship between these bodies of water and the different masses around us. This relationship affects daily our atmospheric condition known as weather, such as windy, cloudy, and sunny, and of course, rainy. Are you thinking how and why? It's an everyday process of water cycle. You had learned this when you were in your grade 7 level. The continuous process of water cycle could happen in any form of land and bodies of water on Earth. The evaporation of water to water vapor is caused by the rising of temperature since water vapor is light. The kinetic molecular motion rises up, reaching the cooler part of the atmosphere and releases heat that makes it cooler and condense, forming a droplets of water collected as cloud and later on becomes rain. Convection current happen. Philippines is lying near above the equator or in an intertropical convergence zone or the ITZZ. ITZZ is an area where wind from northern and southern hemisphere converge results to an increase in precipitation. Converging wind and southern heating force the warm and humid air rises. It cools and condenses clouds of or water vapor into a rain. The hotter the air, the more rain it can hold. When this condition arise, the tropical storms were formed. A common term calling in the Philippines to this atmospheric condition is typhoon. Cool air and warm air meet up in the atmosphere and form wind. The uneven temperature of water and land causes different kind of air at night and daytime, which contributes to the formation of a low pressure area or LPA, a region where the air pressure is lower than that of the surrounding locations. If you will use a thumb sign, how will you describe the LPA? Is it a thumb up or a thumb down sign? How about high pressure area or HP? You may now hit the like and dislike button on the comment box and tell if it's LPA or HP. Very good. Like sign or thumb up means a rising air masses and LPA are usually associated with clouds and stormy conditions. On the other hand, this like sign or thumbs down represented a descending air and high pressure areas at the surface usually mean a fair weather condition. Are all cloudy and stormy weather conditions at the atmosphere globally named typhoon? Certainly not. Typhoon has several callings or storm terminology that has been highly influenced by the histories and cultural interaction of different regions. A tropical cyclone is a system of thunderstorms that are moving around a center. The same kinds of storms in the southern hemisphere at the southern Indian Ocean or the South Pacific, they are known for a tropical cyclones or severe tropical cyclones. In the Bay of Bengal or Arabian Sea, both in the northern Indian Ocean, they are simply called as cyclones, a moving in a circle. On the other hand, hurricane appeared in English in the 16th century as an adaptation of the Spanish word hurrucan, means god of wind, storm, and fire. It forms in the North Atlantic northeast Eastern Pacific, Caribbean Sea, or the Gulf of Mexico. While typhoon, coming from Arabic tafa or Chinese Typhoon, means the greatest. A storm that develops in the northwestern Pacific, usually Asia, or when a hurricane crosses over from east to west, it becomes a typhoon. How do typhoons or bagyos classified? Correct. Typhoons or bagyos are classified according to its strong wind part that push it to travel across the Philippines. Where does it originate? Most typhoons were formed at the northwest of the Pacific Ocean, that is along east side of the Philippines. So most of our typhoon visitors arrive at the eastern part. This is how a top view of Baguio seen from a satellite. Over the ocean at the ITZZ, tropical cyclone continuously forms strong winds and droplets of water, making it wider. Tropical cyclone is a weather system characterized by a very low pressure center that produces strong winds and heavy rain. Tropical cyclone or bagyo has the following characteristics. 1. It originates from tropical oceans. 2. With minimum winds of 35 kilometers per hour or kph. It moves in a counterclockwise direction in the northern hemisphere. Climatologically, 19 to 22 tropical cyclones directly or indirectly affect the country annually. It could be 8 to 9 make landfall. Once a TZ enters the Philippine area of responsibility, it is given a local name. The Regional Specialized Meteorological Center or RSMC Tokyo assigns an international name once a tropical cyclone reaches the tropical storm intensity. How does typhoon develop? Remember, a cyclone or bagyo was formed when converging warm and cool air, building up strong winds, and apparently moving a winding motion at the same time. Cooling of collected water vapor making clouds of rain, thus continuously making it wider and thicker over the ocean or any landmass with warm surface. What are the parts of a tropical cyclone? Let's look at the part of this cross-section of a tropical cyclone. The eye is relatively calm, generally clear area of sinking air and light winds that usually do not exceed 15 mm per hour or 24 kilometers per hour and is typically 20 to 40 miles, 32 to 64 kilometers across. An eye will usually develop when the maximum sustained wind speed go above 74 miles per hour or 119 kilometers per hour. And it is the calmest part of the storm. The cause of eye formation probably has to do with the combination of the conservation of angular momentum and centrifugal force. The conservation of angular momentum is when an objects will spin faster as they move towards the center of circulation. So air increases its speed as it heads toward the center of the tropical cyclone. As the speed increases, an outward directed force called the centrifugal force occurs because the wind's momentum wants to carry the wind in a straight line. Since the wind is turning about the center of the tropical cyclone, there is a pull outward. The sharper the curvature or the faster the rotation, the stronger is the centrifugal force. Around 74 miles per hour or 119 kilometers per hour, the strong rotation of air around the cyclone balances inflow to the center, causing air to ascend about 10 to 20 miles or 16 to 32 kilometers from the center, forming the eye wall. This strong rotation also creates a vacuum of air at the center, causing some of the air flowing out to the top of the eye wall to turn inward and sink to replace the loss of air mass near the center. This sinking air suppresses cloud formation, creating a pocket of generally clear air in the center. The eye wall. The eye wall consists of a ring of tall thunderstorms that produce heavy rains and usually the strongest winds. Changes in the structure of the eye and eye wall can cause changes in the wind speed, which is an indicator of the storm's intensity. The eye can grow or shrink in size, and double or concentric eye walls can form. Third part, rain bands. Curved bands of clouds and thunderstorms that trail away from the eye wall in a spiral fashion. These bands are capable of producing heavy bursts of rains and wind, as well as tornadoes. There are sometimes gaps in between spiral rain bands where no rain or wind is found. In fact, if one were to travel between the outer edge of a hurricane to its center, one would normally progress from light rain and wind to dry and weak breeze, then back to increasingly heavy rainfall and stronger wind, over and over again, with each period of rainfall and wind being more intense and lasting longer. Are you now mindful enough about how a tropical cyclone develops? What are the parts that build it? To sum it up, you may answer these questions. You can hit your answer on the comments section. I'll just give you 5 seconds to write your answer. Number 1. How do typhoon? Let's see your answer. Very well. By the process of convection current. Number 2. In the Philippines, where does a typical cyclone commonly originate? You are right. Northwest of Pacific Ocean or east part of the Philippines. Number 3. If a storm originates from South Pacific Ocean, crossing towards Northern Indian Ocean, how would you call it? Very good. It's cyclone. Number 4. Which part of typhoon express calmness of wind speed? Correct. The eye. Number 5. Which part of Typhoon has the greatest wind speed? Very good. The eye wall. Hope that you might be able to explain and share your learnings well. For your questions, feel free to type it on the comment section below and we will try to answer after this live discussion. So another day of Agham up ended. This is your weather girl for today, Ma'am Sally Wanillas, also known as Miss Kim Tani, saying that awareness reduces risk, damage, and danger. Good day, and see you on our next Agam series. Bye-bye, Grade 8 Agamnatics. Stay healthy and keep safe.